Alright guys, in this video I am interviewing one-on-one Phil Miranda from Miranda's Auto Detailing. You guys are probably familiar with him. And we talk everything from starting the detailing business in the beginning stages, how hard it was, what the difficulties were, how he overcame them, and also of course where he is now, killing it in the detailing business. And if you're a professional detailer, you're gonna get some serious golden nuggets in this interview. Now before we jump in, make sure to go below in the YouTube description box and grab my Essential Detailing Toolbox, the top 12 tools and products you need to start in the detailing business, all for under 500 bucks. Listen, in the detailing industry, it's so confusing to get the right tools and products the first time without wasting your money. So I put a list of the top 12 that you need that are essentials to any detailing business, so you can just have them rather than having to go try to find which ones you actually need. And included with that is a free video series that shows you exactly how not to use these products so that you don't damage or have any risk when you're actually using the products on customer vehicles. So this is going to show you exactly what to do, how to do it, and what not to do, as well as give you the tools and products you need. All of that is in the YouTube description box below. Click that link, grab the Essential Detailing Toolbox, and let's get into the interview. Well, Phil, thank you so much for joining the Zoom call. And you got some sweet lights behind you, actually. My room is so bare. I, yeah, I've got
I had
C.S.
to like,
Lewis.
yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I
Yeah.
have like, I had to like tip over like my laundry stuff and make sure that's not
Yeah,
showing.
exactly.
I did have guitars here hanging up, which would have been nicer, but that's in my lounge
Yeah.
now. So
Okay. All right. Move from the office to the lounge. Um, so Phil, listen, the man who needs no introduction, but I will give you an introduction anyways. Okay. Philip Miranda. Is Miranda actually your last name?
yeah, yep.
Okay. And is your first name Philip, or did I just make that up?
Nope, that's right. Philip and my
Okay.
wife Jessica.
Okay. Philip and Jessica, or Phil and Jess. So, um, listen, you can go into your YouTube analytics now and see what other people watch. They say, here's other channels that your people watch. And guess what? A lot of the people who watch my stuff happen to watch your stuff. And so I called Phil and I was like, we got to get on a Zoom call because we got to talk about detailing. I'm sure we could drum up some golden nuggets. So Phil, we've never done this before, but let me ask you, when did you start detailing? How long ago was that? Because you're running a fully operational mobile detailing business. And when did that start? And what did the beginning look like?
Yeah, so we started at the end of '09, so about just over 12 years ago now. And we
Wow.
moved from the Northeast. I was born and raised in Boston, moved to Vermont when I was like, my teenage years or preteen. So spent most of my life up north, and my wife is also from northern New York, so we're all Northerners. Um, but we were married up there in '03, and we did have her parents had a nice painting business that was actually very lucrative. We used to paint the condominiums at Killington Mountain, the big ski mountains up there,
Oh,
and
when you said painting, I was literally, my mind went to like artist painting, like you painted
I
portraits
wish.
or canvases. Yeah. Okay. So you
I
painted
wish.
like commercial buildings and stuff.
Yeah, just walls.
Yeah.
Nothing artistic, just walls.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, we had a pretty good business up there. But even now, the economy up in Vermont is very, very tough. Very, very hard to make a living up there. It's more touristy, vacation land, second home type of area. To live there, to work there is a different situation. So, we were married first couple of years was great, and some things changed with that mountain, that big ski mountain. Owners changed and kind of phased us out, and all of a sudden now we find ourselves out of work. So lots of things had to change. We tried to search for work and all this crazy stuff. So we kind of hit rock bottom. Basically, we were just in debt, and it was insane. In the last 2 years, I think it was like last 2 to 3 years, like '06 to '08-ish, end of '09 or beginning of '09, I did bumper painting. So my wife's friends had this really cool business where they had a trailer set up. They were mobile, and they would go to dealerships and they would paint bumpers. They would repair and on the spot paint and clear coat bumpers, and make a really good business out of that. And I know some companies still do that, to this day. That's a very lucrative business.
Hmm.
So I did that for a couple of years. I got trained and learned how to do that, and that got me into the world of automotive stuff. I was not truly a car guy per se, But even my own cars, I try to keep them super clean and nice, but I didn't know anything about real detailing. But from there, we decided, hey, let's see if we can do this on our own type of painting business, and we'll move down south because we know longer working season, warmer temps, and hopefully just, I don't know, all around better. Did some research. We landed on Virginia and happened to be in the Richmond area. That was the biggest growing area at the time and still is. So we sold everything we had. We had homes up there that we had, bought like one after the other, and we just sold everything, sold all of our stuff, and just moved down here and started from scratch. Decided we can't do the mobile bumper business because it would cost like 20 plus grand to start. But in the midst of that, my research, I stumbled across detailing. I stumbled across AutoGeek, Right Look, all those different sites that would help you to start mobile businesses. And that is really when I went down the rabbit hole of detailing. And we said, this is something that we can start on a budget. So that's what we did. We bought an old Astrovan, which I still have to make like an origin story of our company, because I found some old footage, some old video and pictures of our very first setup, like 12 years ago.
Wow.
We were so young, so young looking.
so young.
So yeah, we just started from that. I mean, it was rough beginnings, with anyone trying to start a business when you're in tons of debt. You really don't know too much about it. You're in a new area completely. I mean, it was all brand new. And that first year we almost tanked, but we just were begging people to work. We'd go to these like plazas, basically, where there'd be offices, office plazas and stuff, and just go door to door, and ask if people wanted their cars washed, and it was like $25 to $35 to wash and vacuum. It was like really, really low. But that's how we started. And we just slowly grew out of that. And I talked about this in other channels as well, other people. They say, well, how, what was the difference? Like, what made it? And at the time, it was Groupon. Groupon at the time was like kind of in the beginnings. And when they first hit Richmond, I actually contacted them and they reached back out and we did a couple of Groupons. And at the time it was great because they focused on one company per day, per area. And it just got us on the map.
Really?
It wouldn't work today. Yeah, it wouldn't work today because it's like, that kind of system is kind of come and gone. And now they're just bloated with garbage.
Yeah.
It's not really that good anymore. But when they first began, they actually did help us a lot. And it taught us how to hustle really fast, how to schedule, how to get things done really quickly. We developed our system from there as far as, where do we start in the vehicle, and the methods that we have now stem from when we first started doing that. The way that we either wash the exterior, do the interior, the way, everything is stemmed from that.
Right.
So that's really where it started from. And then it just kind of, we eventually phased that out. Our website, made sure to have a really good website, and tried to do more social media stuff at that time as that was starting to grow more, and just kept up on it. And eventually it just led to more and more and more. It was slow going. It was definitely slow going, but
I feel like Groupon is the only technology that was like always old. Like I remember even when Groupon was kind of new, I was like, oh, Groupon, give me a break. But that's hilarious. Okay,
yeah.
so you phased out of that, and what was like the number? Was there a number in your detailing business in terms of like revenue per month, revenue per year, and let's just say net revenue into your pocket? Was there a number where it was like, man, when we started doing this, that's where it felt like we could breathe, we were growing, there was margin in our life? What was that?
Definitely. So we noticed that when we phased out the basic stuff, and I know that this is what we teach in our detailing workshop, and other detailers who talk to us, they're like, no one wants to pay $25, $50. Like, even that is hard to sell. And I was in that mindset as well. And I talked to another detailer way back when, and he's like, you've got to get out of that. Like you got to stop doing the 25, 35 or $50 or even $100 full details, And I'm like, how do you do that? And he gave me some tips. He basically said, phase it out, just stop doing it and say, no, we only do full details. And at whatever price point, he gave me a price point, and then I did some research here and found out like 250, 275 was like the sweet spot we found for a normal full detail. No polishing, nothing crazy, but just, washing, deconning, machine applied wax, full interior detail, steaming, carpet shampooing, extracting, all that is needed. We found out that that was the price point that we want to be at. So we slowly worked up to that. It took a couple of months, but we phased out all the small stuff and worked up to the full details, repackaged everything, and only had like 3 options or 4 options. And he also said, place the most expensive one at the top of your website and any of your services. Don't start cheap, start with the most expensive, then go down from that, because that's going to be the first thing they see. And it'll phase out the people who are cheap, and it will keep the interested ones who actually understand the value.
Were you skeptical at all, where you were thinking, did this thought ever run through your mind? Why would I want to phase people out? I want everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That was the mindset. It was very hard to get out of that because it's a fear. You're like,
Yeah,
but I want to keep those people. And the bottom line is, no, you don't.
right,
That those aren't the people you want. You can make more with less people,
right,
with
right,
less customers,
right.
So yeah, it was a couple of years into it that we phased out all the basic stuff completely. We had a couple of customers that we grandfathered in that
Sure.
even like 2 years ago, we had to let them go, and we were still doing their vehicles at like $60.
Right.
but
You're like,
I
this does
kept
not
them
make
because-
sense.
Yeah, exactly. I only kept them on because I had them from the beginning. I mean, literally
Right.
like 10, 11 years. Eventually, I mean, just recently, the past 6 months, I handed those off
Right.
to some other, detailer friends in the area. So yeah, no longer doing basic stuff, full details only. But when we did that, there was like at least a 5-year period in that, like from that transition into that we were all of a sudden doing 2 of those a day and working about 3 days a week. So we're pulling in about $1,500 a week.
Right.
And at that point, we're like, that's the sweet spot. That's where we want to be. We had minimum quotas. We're like, we need to make at least $900 a week to cover all the expenses and bills and all that. Then we had like a medium quota at like 1,200, and then like the max would be 15 to 2. But there was a couple of years there that it was solid weeks and months of that revenue.
Right.
We're like, that's it. That's what we had to, work our way to that.
Yeah.
But it worked. It worked.
So is there, because the great thing about detailing is that people build their business in all sorts of ways to like accommodate their lifestyle. So was one of the things that you and Jess wanted to do, because your wife works with you, right?
Yep. Right
Okay.
from the beginning. Yep.
Yeah, totally. So you guys are a team. Was there a sort of like perspective that you took, like, hey, we're not trying to make 50 grand a month detailing. We want to make, $10,000 a month because our expenses are this and our lifestyle is this, and we only want to work 3 days a week. Was it more like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Because our time, like our personal time, was more important than putting so much into a business where you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
I've been there before. I've been there.
Sure.
I've seen other companies do that. And they would burn out. Even in my own family, like I have brothers who have their own businesses, and they're just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but what about time for like family and a like break to like recoup? And they're like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
No, you need time for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my mindset too. And even I even tell people and other good detailer friends, they're like going and going and going 110%. I'm like, you gotta take a break. You gotta make time for yourself, because you will burn out and then you're gonna hate it. You don't
Right.
want to hate it.
Right. Okay. So as you leveled up and you kept moving along in your business, can you name like one or two like tools that you added into the repertoire that made a big difference? Where it's like, oh man, this thing made such an impact. This thing made such an impact. Here's the way we put it in the van, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I would have to say one of the big things was stepping up into polishing and getting better at that. And it was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. No, it was more like 8 years ago. I got my first Rupes, like the first generation Rupes machine. I got
Yeah.
it from like buffdaddy.com and talked to Kevin Brown there. He was really cool. And
Right.
but I got that machine, and that made a huge difference. Like I learned on that machine. I really learned on the old Porter cables, the 74,
Yeah.
24. I used to do, my type of corrections and polishing with that machine. But the moment I stepped up to the Rupes, it like turned me into a different world, of polishing,
Yeah.
and I learned things and I went faster. And that was a turning point for polishing, at least for me, and
Totally.
learning how to do that. That changed everything, because then the confidence was there. You do a couple of jobs and you're like, oh, this is awesome. And
Yeah.
you keep going and you keep upping the price more and more and more and more. And
Right.
it just escalates, from there. So I'd say
Right.
the polishing was one thing. Getting a good machine made a big difference.
Right.
I think we got an extractor right away. That old Mighty Light that I have, the 8070, that's like the second version. I think it's called the Mighty Light 2. So that's like the old body style, and that thing is still going. It's a tank. I replaced a few pumps and things like that in it, but it's still going. We got that the first year, and that made a
Yeah,
big
that's
difference.
actually worth pausing on, because the Mighty just makes such a good machine that you can just keep replacing parts really cheaply, and the thing is just a tank, like you said. It just runs forever. Okay, you
Yeah.
have to talk about though because you're the only guy I've ever actually seen who has this. It's awesome. You strike me as like a gadget guy, like the stuff that makes like if I walked into your house, you wouldn't have like a Keurig. You would have like the Nespresso, like the best coffee maker. Okay, I could be wrong.
I have
right?
that.
Okay, see, look at me. All right. Okay, but when we were in Chicago like a few years ago, you were like, yeah, on my Apple Watch, I can start and stop my vacuum and my stuff like from just wherever I am. Is you still doing that?
Yeah. It's not the watch though, but it is a separate little. It's a separate
Okay.
little remote. Yeah, that I can either put on my wrist, or now I just put it in my pocket. But yeah, it's a little remote that I plugged up to 3 different things in the trailer. One's the vacuum, one's the blower, like the
Right.
heated blower, and one is the air compressor. So at any given time, if all those things are like going at the same time or something, or it's connected to the steamer, I can shut one of them off remotely. Like you can hear when your generator is like bogged down, you're like, oh, I got to shut off the air compressor, or shut
Yeah.
off the
Yeah.
vacuum, something like that. So I could be in the car, hear it, and be like, oh, let me just shut that off, and I can turn separate things off
Right.
from the remote. And I actually got that idea from Tony Ralda's Details.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
he's like the engineer. Like he comes up with all this stuff and builds things and like amazing ideas. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I remember you telling me that, and I was like, that makes so much sense. It's like so obvious, you're like, well, of course I would want to be able to turn my vacuum off when I'm back here, so I don't have to walk all the way back up there. But that never struck me. Okay, cool. Let me ask you this. Have you had any, probably not recently, because, well, actually, let me go here first. In addition to like detailing, and then you're talking about polishing, have you added on any services that have become pretty substantial in your detailing business, in addition to just the traditional sense of interior, exterior detailing?
Yeah. So as far as the coatings, like we do a lot of ceramic coatings.
Right.
Going into that world was like the next phase. We were doing
Right.
the full details at like 275, and that was amazing for the chunk of years that we did it. And then getting into ceramic coatings was like the next phase up.
Right.
And I can even see our business phasing out interiors. Maybe
Yeah.
not 100%, because my wife would love to just get rid of all interiors. She's like, I don't want to do interiors anymore. We did it for 12 years. We're done.
Yeah.
But that's natural progression, of
Right.
things. So since we had our garage in that last place, even though it was small, like it's a garage, I can do coatings now.
Right.
So I think we're at that place for like 8 years. So yeah, once we got that garage and started offering coatings, and I learned more about those, and
Right.
that
Right.
kicked us up to the next
Right.
phase.
So moving, like looking ahead, or well, let me ask you this as well. Most of your business now, does it, you kind of get to a point in your detailing business where the word of mouth and the reputation is so strong that you really don't need a lot of other things like other, let's say like customer acquisition channels can be supplementary, but, yeah, they can complement what you already have and supplement what you have, but they're not necessary. Where do most of your new calls coming in come from?
So recently, I've done some more upgrades to our Google My Business, and have really been posting on there regularly
Hmm.
and updating,
Yeah.
making sure it's updated. And the website, I'm always making sure our website is up to date, trying to be as compliant as possible. Like, I don't really have any type of proper SEO on there. The
Sure.
website creator that I use is my own, that I have on this MacBook, and it does offer like its own basic SEO that I pay for. It's like $20 a month or something like that, very reasonable. But they supposedly do some back end stuff. But having a website here was a big thing anyway. Like, I knew right away that that had to be a 100% must have here, because in this Richmond area, people are always using their phones. Like, even talking to some customers, they're like, "Yeah, I just searched you, found you, and called you." I'm like, "Okay," and
Cool.
that's an important part of having it. So
Yeah.
most of the time now, I don't know if you have this, if it does the same thing for you, but if I get a call from Google, like from my Google listing, the business listing, it will actually say, like, right as I answer the phone, it'll give you like a little twinkle sound. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes it'll say from Google, or it'll just do a little twinkle sound. And then I know, I'm like, that's directly from the Google profile that they're
Right.
searching,
Right.
or on Google Maps. I've been getting a ton of those recently.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah,
Totally.
that works really, really well. And I don't really do a lot of advertising. Maybe Google ads every once in a while. I'll put like $100, maybe $200 in there, and
Right.
run like a little ad. But then I'll run perpetually off of that, from other customers and word of mouth. But
Right.
you're
Right.
right. What you said, like, we've been here for so long. We're
Right.
we're one of now the longest running companies here in the Richmond area. Um, I
Right.
shouldn't say oldest, but one of them. So
Right.
that plays a big role in it.
Okay, let me ask you something non-detailing related. Okay. So people are like, who is this Phil guy? Well, what's up with these blue lights? Okay, I got to get to know this guy. No, I'm just kidding. So Phil, what do you like to do like on your days off where you're like, I'm not detailing? Is it like Netflix and chill? Is it like I have to go, I'm doing a polar plunge because that's just the kind of guy I am. It's cold outside. I want to, do people are like taking ice baths these days. I don't know if it's Joe Rogan or who started that, but what do you do
It's
on
a
your days
Vermont
off?
thing too. It's a
Okay,
Vermont.
yeah, there you go. You weirdos in
I'm
Vermont.
I am I am very much a lounging type of person. Like, I know how to work hard, but I also know how to chill hard.
Yeah, totally.
So, like, I have a very nice, comfy, like, leather recliner couch that is like my throne that I love, and it's so comfortable,
Yeah,
and that's where I'll just go, and I'll watch a couple of movies or shows, or
right,
YouTube, Netflix. That's what I personally like to do. Like, if it's just
right,
me time.
right.
Um, my wife is on the other end of the spectrum. She just can't sit and do nothing. She's like very much an active person.
Right.
So we always have a joke, like, just relax. And she's like, I can't relax. I have to do something. So she's like cleaning or running errands, or going out for a walk, or going out, like, she's always moving.
Right,
Um,
right.
we did recently invest in some really nice, like, 750-watt e-bikes.
That's a
Those,
thing now. Like the
oh,
Pedigo bike thing, it's like no longer just for beaches. I mean, this is like
oh
us
yeah.
landlocked folks are getting into this. Um,
Yeah,
that's
that is
awesome.
very relaxing. It's not like hard. We have the ones that are like the pedal assist. And
Yeah,
when you're when you're going, it kicks in, and the things go like 20+ miles an hour without
I
any
know.
effort. It's
I
so
know.
relaxing. It's so much. So that's like our thing that they fold up.
Yeah.
They weigh like 70 pounds each, so they're a little heavy, but they fold up. You put them in the back of our SUV, and we'll go off like an hour somewhere and go find some trails or something. So that's
Right.
something that we like to do together. That's very relaxing.
Okay. Okay. What is your favorite, like on Netflix, if you're gonna, or Disney Plus or whatever 1,000 different channels you could possibly choose from these days? What's your like, oh man, this movie is so good. If you don't watch it, you will die a lesser person because of that. What is that movie?
I'm very much into Marvel.
Oh, so
Yep.
you've seen
I'm
the most
definitely a
recent like
Marvel and
Black Widow or whatever?
oh yeah, I love
Okay.
all the Marvel stuff. I love all the offshoots. I love all the movies. I love all the Star Wars stuff. You know, all the new Star Wars, Book of Boba Fett and
Right.
Mandalorian. Like I'm into all that stuff. I like it
Okay.
because it really is like it's good quality. I consider
Right.
it good quality. You know, good stories and stuff, and I like that stuff a lot.
Okay. What's one that you're like, you despise? You're like, if you watch this, we're not going to go out to dinner together.
Oh, that's a good one. I hate like thriller horror movies.
Yeah.
All.
Okay. Like The
I don't like them at all.
Conjuring, Evil
Ugh,
Dead,
yeah.
not your thing.
Nope. Yep. Any
Yeah.
horror or like that type of stuff, I am not
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. When I would think I was like 15 years old, and I snuck in with my friends to we bought a ticket to the movies to like, some whatever simple movie, and we snuck into a horror movie, and it was terrible. It's one of those things where you like disobey your parents and you're like, why did I do that? I feel like I need to take a shower. This is so
Yep.
yeah, it was terrible.
Right.
Wow. Okay, cool. Okay, last question, offshoot, not detailing, but we want to get to know Phil. Okay, your perfect day. You're not detailing, you're not working. Your perfect day. It includes Netflix, potentially, maybe to end the day. Maybe you're like relaxing, movie at the end of the day. Best lunch spot at a reasonable price in your area, and what kind of food do they serve?
Ooh, okay. So we had this thing that like if we had a really bad detailing day, like it was a disgusting disaster detail, like back in our beginnings,
Yeah.
and there was one I can particularly remember, which I actually have a video on. It was this little Jeep Wrangler. It was so disgusting. It was the worst. We spent 5 hours on it, and we had to cancel our afternoon job and push it off. We're like, we're done for the day. So we had this thing where if we have one of those days, we cancel our afternoon appointments and we go for what we call a margarita lunch.
Okay.
So
this is a Mexican restaurant.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Mexican restaurants around here are really, really good. Like the Spanish food around here, they have a couple of like really big Spanish families, like Mexican
Right.
and Guatemalan families, and the restaurants here are like on point. They're so good and they're so consistent. So
Right.
anywhere we were like, let's look up, like some of them are called Mexico or Patron, El Patron, the Patron, like one of those, all those different variations.
Right.
So we look up whatever's closest and we're like, all right, we're going there. So
Dude, I
we
love
get
it.
carnitas and giant margaritas.
You
And
just get the
that's
classic like lime, straight up. Okay.
on the rocks, lime, salt.
Yeah.
They would come in these giant like bowls, like toilet bowl things,
Right.
we both get them.
Like you have to
And
pick it up with both arms and sort of
you
like
gotta hug it.
lean. Yeah.
Exactly. That would be our
Totally.
margarita lunch. And then we just go home and clean up and then just relax. And you're like, all
Yeah.
right, that's like to end like a horrible day.
Totally.
If
Wow.
it's a good day, we pretty much do the same thing.
So it's a win-win. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, one of my family members does that. She says when I have a horrible day, I go get a what is it? It's like a chocolate ice cream Coke float. That's what it is, a Coke float. She would get a Coke float, and she has at Baskin Robbins. It's an ice cream shop down here. I get a Coke float if I have a terrible day, and if I have a really great day and something to celebrate, I get a Coke float. So I'm like, hey, I gotta get something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need a win-win celebratory, depressed, item.
It's like a vice anti-vice,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's good
Exactly.
either way.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Okay. Well, Phil, thank you so much for the time. And I bet people are going to love getting to know some of these detailing inside tips, as well as just, what you like doing. Maybe we need to do
Yeah,
this again in like a month and just shoot the breeze, and
definitely.
it'll turn into a famous podcast. Um,
Oh yeah,
so
that'll be awesome, man. I really do like things like this. I'm going to be connecting with a couple of
totally.
other detailers and doing something very similar. So yeah, good ideas. I really like this.
Totally, totally. Okay, Phil, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna shoot you an email after though, because we should follow up and do another one because I think it'd be great, and people like to hear, guys who have been in the business a lot longer and how to get past some of these hurdles. So it's helpful.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
all right, Phil, have a great rest of your day, and look for my email, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, man. It's great
All
talking to
right,
you.
see you, buddy.
All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the interview. Make sure to hit the like button on this video if you did, so that I can do more interview style content like this for the pro detailers. Hope you guys got some golden nuggets here. Before you leave, make sure to go below in the YouTube description box, click that link, grab the Essential Detailing Toolbox, the top 12 tools and products you need to start your business for under $500. Again, it comes with a free video series. We have revamped this, and if you got it last year, you want to get this new one because, again, it's totally free, but it's all the updated tools and products so that you can stay with the times in the detailing business. We're constantly updating our stuff because things are constantly updating in the detailing business, and we want you guys to have the best information, the best tools and products all the time. The link is in the YouTube description box below. Grab that before you leave. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.